Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm setting up a B5 sized bullet journal. This notebook is from Notebook Therapy. This is the Nara limited edition. It has a brown velvet cover with rose gold accents. I have been referring to him as Shika or Shikamaru. This notebook has 175 pages. It has bright white 5mm grid on here. The paper is 160 GSM. There's 2 ribbon bookmarks, an elastic closure, and a pocket in the back. This is my first time in B5, and so far I'm absolutely loving it, but I will be doing a separate video comparing B5 to A5 later this month in case you are curious about my thoughts. The first spread I'm setting up is a future log, and while I'm writing out those little tiny calendars starting in June of 2021 using my Tombow mono drawing pen, which is my favorite fine liner in 01, let me talk about why I'm moving to a bullet journal in May. I like change, and I've spent the last couple years really trying to cram my entire life into one bound book to put on my shelf, and I feel like my channel has become synonymous with Hobonichi products like the Cousin and the Weeks. And while I really love those planners, and there's nothing wrong with them, like they totally still work for me, I just am trying to align my planning system to not be such a feel tabooed for change. I don't know how to word that properly, but when you get down to it, I like change. I like setting up new planners. I like iteratively improving upon things, doing fresh layouts, trying new things constantly, and bullet journaling is just a form of planning that I think works at that a little bit better. The way I bullet journal and have been bullet journaling since 2017, I can go through 2-3 notebooks a year typically, and those are really good refresh starting points for me. Each new bullet journal gives me an opportunity to let go of goals that aren't serving me, to sit down and review all the data I've collected in a habit tracker, determine if I want to make any changes going forward. Every new page is a new opportunity for me to add information in a little bit of a different way, and I want to get to the point where I'm setting goals and intentions per notebook versus waiting for January or carrying something from January all the way through to the end of the planner, because that's what I wrote at the beginning of my single bound book, and I really love the idea of having a fresh start with each fresh notebook. So that is point 1. And point 2 would be minimalism. Minimalism is a topic that I've been working on for years, and in most aspects of my life, I actually consider myself to be a minimalist, believe it or not, but stationery, I'm probably more of a maximalist, if you guys haven't noticed. And I think planning can be as simple or as expensive as you allow it to be, but I am the kind of person that works a little bit better if I can just remove myself from a temptation versus trying to build up willpower to resist that temptation. So I'm moving into a bullet journal because I really like pen and paper. I'm not going to buy dividers. I'm not going to buy a fancy cover for this cover or anything like that, or I typically haven't in the past. So I'm hoping good old simplicity pen, paper with a couple Tombows that I already have will be a great way for me to exercise my creativity muscles and hopefully help me move in the right direction to make my planning supplies feel more minimal. Turning the page, I'm now setting up my future log. This is my first time setting up mini calendars in my future log, and I'm obsessed. I don't think I will ever go back to doing the good old calendar and then list. I'm setting up my monthly calendars with 3x3 squares. I do a Monday start, and this is where I will put in birthdays, holidays, events, any future appointments, and then the space on the left is a space for me to put down any tasks or goals that I need to remember or want to accomplish for that month as I look ahead. Doing it this way, I get 2 months per page, and I did set up June of 2021 through May of 2022, so I do have a full year in here. I don't anticipate getting more than 6 months in here at a time, but I didn't want to be caught in a space where I wouldn't be able to write an appointment down and then feel like I had, an opportunity for everything to blow up. I don't know why it's so aggressive in my mind, but it is. And just so you know, no LindseyScribbles notebook setup is complete without whiteout. So I did forget a day in January, had to white out the entire month and then redate all of those calendars. So don't be afraid of mistakes. It's part of the process. It happens to all of us. So this entire setup took me an hour and 20 minutes to do, putting pen to paper, but obviously I've trimmed it down for you. Most of that time was setting up the year at a glance spread and the future log, but now we're moving into all of the trackers and collections that I felt that I needed to start this notebook. So I'm starting pretty much all of my trackers from May moving forward. That was a choice to let go of the previous year and look forward, just like I hope to do in my next bullet journal setup as well. But the first tracker that I set up is my cycle tracker. I did put April in here. I do a column per month. I numbered 4 through 12 for each of the months, and then numbered 1 through 31, and then that's where I will keep track of my menstruation cycle. The next spread I'm setting up is a workout tracker. I give myself 2 columns per month. I again am starting in May, so I use the number 5 through 12, so through December, number 1 through 31, and then this is where I will do sort of like a 1 to 2 letter code for the type of workout that I am doing each day. This helps me track to see how often I work out and the types of workouts I am doing, which is just interesting to see if I'm, keeping things balanced or if I'm leaning one way or the other. It's also a good way to recognize types of workouts that I actually enjoy versus the ones I probably don't like because I never do them. The next spreads are my weight and measurement tracker. This is something that works for me. It may not be something that works for you. Do not feel obligated to set up any tracker that I am setting up, but this is something I started putting pen to paper on in 2019, and it really helps me kind of stay in track with my goals. And this I set up as a weekly tracker, so I write Monday through Sunday at the top, giving myself 2 columns per day of the week, and then down the left-hand side I'm writing the fiscal week numbers. So May for me started in week 18 and I go through week 52 with a space designating where I would be at the end of the month. The right-hand page is my measurements tracker, and I write a shorthand for what body part I am measuring at the top, and then down the left I am numbering 5 through 12 for each of the months. I give myself a 2 by 2 square for each of these measurements, and then I'm going ahead and drawing in the lines to give it a clean look. The next 2 spreads I'm setting up are for work. And this is where I will track my hours that I work each day for invoicing purposes. Again, I set this up the same way as my weight tracker. It is a week tracker, I guess you could think of it. I write Monday through Saturday at the top and then a total. Hopefully I don't regret that. I haven't worked a Sunday in 2 years. I give myself 2 columns per day, number 18 through 52, with a space to denote month breaks. The next page I am splitting into 4 columns, and each column is 7 squares, and that is basically my master task list for work. Flipping the page, I'm setting up my monthly cleaning tracker and my adulting checklist, and I am using an alligator clip as I set this up because some of these signatures are glued together and they don't lay completely flat. Every now and then, I think it's normal. I pretty much experienced it in every notebook that I've tried. But I'm writing out the months up top, starting in May, but I did write out 12 months into the future because it will help me when I'm setting up this spread in my next journal. And something that I used to track was my weekly cleaning checklist, and I've determined I'm at the point where I'm very consistent with my weekly cleaning, and I'm moving forward with just tracking the things I need to do on a monthly basis. And then I'm using this gray Tombow dual brush pen. This is the bullet nib, just to do a dot under each of those months when I need to do those tasks. The first section is kind of things I need to do on a monthly basis, and then moving down into the further sections, they're more like quarterly basis or a couple times a year. The adulting checklist, as I call it, on the right, I just write in the number for the months. I do 1 column per month. Again, I'm starting in May, but I'm going out 12 because it will be an easy reference for me for my next journal setup. And these are the things that I absolutely need to do that are not automated, such as renewing my vehicle registration, getting emissions testing done for our vehicle, etc. So I'm writing that down the left, and then I will go back in with that same bullet nib on my Tombow dual brush pen and put a little dot under each of the months when that task needs to happen. I debated putting this in my future log, but I do like just kind of seeing this all in one place, and I'm adding to this list honestly all the time. So we're on the home stretch here, but these are my 2 finance related spreads that I set up typically with each bullet journal. This is where I keep track of things that get charged to the wrong account for how we have our budgeting set up. I'm splitting the page into 2 different columns, and within there I basically leave a check mark space, room for a description, a $sign for the amount, and then I will denote kind of like where that money needs to move. And the next page is where I keep track of my personal like fun money spending, and very similar, 2 columns. I will do a description, a dollar amount, and then my running balance of how much I've spent basically and how much is in that account. And my goal would be to not have more transactions than I have room for in this page. Now that's actually a lot of room for transactions in 6 months. We'll see where we're at. Maybe in my next journal I'll only do 1 column to really challenge myself to not spend more money. But for now, that's what I set up, so that's what we're going with. And then the last 2 collections that I need are a package tracker. I like to check when things have shipped, when they've received, and when I have them in hand, because sometimes things will get delivered, but we've got like a package notification system, but we won't get a notification. So it just lets me double check on tracking and things, and maybe if I need to talk to the front desk of our building. But again, 2 columns, check mark for got it in hand, a description, and then a shipped and received. And then I drew in a few letters up top and added a drop shadow with my Tombow dual brush pen. The last collection I feel like I'm always needing is a gift ideas list, and this is sort of like a categorized list. I do the first letter of all of the family members that I would kind of need to keep track of gift ideas for, space for the description to the left, and then a check mark. And as I write in ideas, I will put a dot or an X under who that idea is tied to, and then come Christmas time, it is less overwhelming for me to think of gifts for all of our friends and family members. And that, guys, is my bullet journal setup. It's really minimal. I'm absolutely loving it. I did a collage at the front that you saw, just sort of to set a visual version of my goals while I'm in this particular notebook. I hope you guys are looking forward to bullet journal videos, because I'm psyched. And I'm very confident that this is going to stick for a while. So if you made it this long, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.